Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and today we're going to go game hunting, but in this video, it's going to be someplace completely new, at least to me. I didn't know about this place until I saw a post that they made on Instagram. They were showing some video games that they had in there. I was like, what? I've never heard of this place, which is crazy because I drive by it all the time when I'm going to other game stores. Now, the reason why I hadn't heard of this place and would normally skip by it is because it's called Aurora Antique Pavilion. And I typically don't go into those kind of places to look for video games. But someone told me that no, you want to check this place out because yes, they've got video games, but they've also got a lot of other collectible stuff, a bunch of pop culture stuff that you might buy for your game room and your man cave. So yeah, what the heck, let's check it out. Right off the bat, you can tell I am a man on a mission, but I gotta tell you, I was a little bit taken aback by just how huge this place was. To be honest, I don't really go to a lot of these kind of antique pavilions. I'm not even sure what the word pavilion means, but if it's describing this place, then basically what's going on here is that this is an entire warehouse full of independent sellers with their own booths and their own sales in there. So they're basically just renting space and then they can sell whatever they want. And as you can see, it just goes on and on and on. It twists and turns. You're never quite sure to the left, to the right of you, what is gonna be there and what you're gonna find. But I quickly discovered a case full of video games, one of several, and we're gonna get to those as well. And then I found an employee who was kind enough to open it up and let me take a look inside. Now, right off the bat, I noticed just how much variety they have in this case. By the way, this is only one of the cases. We're going to get to the others as well. But a bunch of just random stuff in here. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that the prices were basically eBay or less. A lot of these were actually a couple bucks cheaper than what you could normally get, say, at a retro gaming store or perhaps online. And by the way, guys, at the end of this video, I will show you what I picked up. And with my eye, I do spy some Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Sagas 1 and 2, as well as Nocturne. And those seem like some pretty good prices. As well as Zone of Enders, the second runner, a PlayStation 2 game that I do not own. And I noticed down there it is produced by Hideo Kojima. That's pretty cool. I'm also surprised to see this Mega Tower Mini. This was the add-on for the Sega Genesis Mini that came out, and at least it came out in Japan. But again, I was really surprised to see it in this antique pavilion. That's kind of cool. And I mentioned that they have a little of everything here. I was pleased to find the Star Blazers DVD collection. They had Series 1 and Series 2. Growing up, I was a huge Star Blazers fan. I watched it all the time. I actually recently got I think it's called the remakes or the remasters that came out on Blu-ray and rewatched those. Fantastic series. Here's a pretty decent copy of Mega Man Legends 2. Now you'll notice that the price tag there says $125, so clearly they are aware of how much some of these games are worth, but still a kind of difficult game to find, and this was a pretty clean copy. Here's another one of my favorites on the PlayStation 1. This is the fighting game Bushido Blade, and as you see there, it's 25 bucks. That is a little bit cheaper than what you can find typically online. So the rest of this case is a mix of original Xbox games as well as some PlayStation 2 games. Nothing super rare, mostly common games, but they seem to be reasonably priced. So if you're looking to fill out your collection, this might be a nice option for you. As well as some NES games, Super NES games, some Famicom games in there, some Game Boy Advance games, strategy guides. So yeah, it's a mix of a little of everything, it seems. We're gonna go ahead and move along here and just kind of wander the aisles and see if we can find the other cases. Immediately, I run into a record store. It's a little mini record store with a bunch of just random pop, rock, metal, jazz, funk, a little of everything. So that was pretty cool to see. And again, I'm digging this place because it's got a bunch of pop culture stuff in here. Some of it from my childhood, like the Jetsons, and then we got some VHSs, the Terminator. Look at this Light Bright. I haven't even thought of a Light Bright in probably 40 years. Also, I'm a huge horror and Stephen King fan. Clive Barker and Stephen King are some of my favorites, and here is Misery, as well as a bunch of his other hardbacks. Now, if you guys are into collecting action figures, there are many booths here that have just decades worth of action figures, pretty much from you know, from like the early 1900s all the way up to something recent. Now, me personally, I don't collect many action figures, not because I don't like them, but because I simply don't need another hobby and more stuff collecting in my house. But I definitely appreciate them from afar. Moving down another aisle, I do spot another case of video games and summon an employee to open it up for me. And this one seems to have even more variety in it, just kind of jammed all in there, including Game Gear games, Atari games, big box PC games, as well as some original NES games in box, including 2 Crude Dudes on the Sega Genesis. This is a pretty clean copy, looks complete, and it's only $40. Again, that's a couple bucks cheaper than what you normally find online. And again, it's just a mix of all kinds of games in here. N64 games, PlayStation 1 games, NES, DS. It's just so much fun to dig through all this. This is the kind of place that I like to find where everything's just kind of jumbled in there. You're not exactly sure. You kind of have to, you know, pick up stuff, move things around, see what's buried underneath to kind of get those little nuggets of gold. At the bottom of the case, I can't help but notice this awesome Pantera VHS. This is the Cowboys from Hell music videos. Oh man, that takes me back to my college years, as well as this heavy metal VHS compilation. I completely forgot about these things. These are basically they're music magazines, but they're put onto VHS. And I used to have a bunch of these back when I was younger. They were so cool because they'd have interviews, they'd have reviews, they'd have music videos. Man, I need to start getting those. I know many of you are into collecting Funko Pops, and there are, well, literally hundreds of them here across several different vendors. Again, something I've kind of avoided collecting, even though it's super tempting because it seems like they have pretty much every single musician and pop star and science fiction, anime. It just goes on and on and on. So I can see why they're addictive. I don't need more stuff cluttering up my game room, but man, more power to you if that's your thing. Now, one area I am definitely a sucker for is collecting vintage Star Wars stuff. I used to have a pretty impressive Star Wars collection when I was a kid. I'm talking the vintage Kenner figures back in the day. Sadly, I got rid of them when I was in college like a frickin' idiot, and so I am looking for some of that stuff. And you see a bunch of Star Wars stuff just scattered throughout this place. Wandering the aisles some more, I find another case with some video games in here. Not a ton of them, but there are some interesting ones, including some Atari 5200, as well as some Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, things like that, some N64. Again, that's the thing about this place. You really have to go basically lane by lane, aisle by aisle, because you never know what you're going to find buried in some corner, which is, again, really fun. And then my wife found this thing called the Tingler, which massages your head. She was very excited about it for some reason, so I bought it for her, sure. All right, guys, well, I got a bag full of games, and I think it's time we head home and I show you what I picked up. All right, so I couldn't pass up those 2 Shin Megami Tensei Devil Sagas 1 and 2. You see the first one a lot, but honestly, I rarely see the second one. And again, for 15 bucks a piece, that seemed like a pretty good deal. As well as Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. This is, I believe, the limited edition of this game, and it's in really good condition. It has the manual as well as the soundtrack. Now, looking this up online, it looks like it goes anywhere from $40 to $50 complete. So for 15 bucks, that's a pretty good deal. I also picked up a couple random Nintendo DS games that I didn't own quite yet. This was a total blind buy. I didn't know anything about it. Just looks kind of interesting. It's the Legend of Kage 2, and it looks like it is a 2D platforming game. Again, I don't know anything about it, so if you played it, please let me know down in the comments below. As well as Panzer Tactics Ds. This is another DS game I didn't own yet, and I really do like tactics games when you play them on the DS using the stylus. That's a very natural way to do that. And I guess this game actually got an HD remake or remaster when it came out on the PC as well as the iPad. I'm always on the lookout for PlayStation Vita games that I don't own, and I didn't own Virtua Tennis 4. Now, I don't play a lot of sports games, but I do actually like tennis games. And so this one looks pretty fun. It's by Sega, so I had to pick it up. And then I did pick up that copy of Zone of Enders, The Second Runner. I do like the original game, and I didn't own the second one. Not really a rare game or necessarily hard to find, but I don't really run into it in the wild, so seemed like a pretty good price. I also picked up Castlevania Curse of Darkness on the original Xbox, an Xbox game I didn't own, and I haven't played this yet. Now, I know this game is a little bit controversial because it's one of the 3D Castlevania games where it's a little bit more, action, hack and slash sort of gameplay, but I don't know, actually, it looks pretty cool. So again, let me know down in the comments what you think about it. I also picked up, almost for a laugh, Jaws Ultimate Predator on the Wii. This looks kind of hilariously bad. I don't know anything about it other than there's been some of those shark games that have come out recently, and sometimes those can be kind of fun. This looks like that style of game, although it also looks like it might be kind of janky, so I don't know. We'll give it a try. I've also been picking up Atari Lynx games when I find them, primarily because they're usually pretty cheap and they're getting kind of hard to find. And so I didn't have hockey in my collection, so here it is. Now, I'm not the biggest hockey fan, but my buddy Drunken Master Paul is. And so maybe next time he comes over, we'll fire this one up. All right, guys, well, that's a quick look at my new secret game hunting place. Although maybe after this video, not so secret anymore. But I don't care. That's okay, man, because I like sharing these kind of places with you guys. You guys know that I love game hunting in the Seattle area. And, my hope is that if you live here or if you ever travel here and you want to do some game hunting, well, you'll use these videos to try to go out and get some awesome games and also help support local businesses, because that's also really important too. So I'd love to know what you guys think. If you live in the area, definitely check it out. I'll put a link down to their website as well as their Instagram in the video description below if you want to check them out. Also, a huge shout out to the employees at the Aurora Antique Pavilion. You guys were super cool to me. Let me film there, kind of just do whatever I want. I was running around like a madman, just like a little kid in a candy store. And so it's very cool for you guys to let me do that. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, and take care.